followers. Oh, now we're live. Hey, we're live
There
now.
you go.
What's up, friends, fans, and followers? It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m., and that must mean one exciting thing. It is time for the Geeks with Wives and Capes podcast. We are on episode 76. And as always, we're excited to bring you the latest and greatest in the world of geek, including comics, TV, movie, and all sorts of other debauchery as usual. I am your host, Darth Sparrow. It's so nice to be back with everybody this week. And I have my ragtag crew of interstellar warriors with me tonight. As always, the lady kicking butt and taking names, Miss Piper Steed. Piper, welcome. What's going on?
Hey, a lot. Today was
Yeah.
a productive day, and it's an exciting day. But mostly it was awesome because I got to go to back to the gym. I finally got the okay to go back to the gym. And what really
Excellent.
sucks is I'm used to being able to like lift so much and this and that. And since I haven't gotten to go in forever, I went in there and tried and just looked so ridiculous. So I went in there and I'm like, yeah. Oh, oh no. Oh no, I'm
Hey,
a little girl.
it doesn't matter how you look. You're there. You don't see me and Casey at the gym.
You're not gonna see
Right,
me
Casey?
within 50 miles of a gym.
Yeah, exactly. I drive by one to work. That's about it.
I think I walked into a gym once in Grand Theft Auto, and that was probably about the extent of it.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. We're glad to hear. And you're doing what a lot of cosplayers are starting to do now with con season coming up, right? You're getting ready to
Yeah.
get back into a cosplay shape, as we call it.
Yeah, I like my gym's an all women's gym, and they have tons of stuff everywhere going, get bikini season and get in bikini shape. And I'm like, screw bikinis. I need to cosplay Poison Ivy. So
Yo, bikini, fuck that. Poison Ivy shape. Where's that picture? Why we need to put that on the wall?
There's too many slave Leias out there as it is. So screw bikini shape. As long as I can get in my corset, I'm good.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're.
Smaller.
What's that?
Yeah. But first I gotta be able to close it in the back, and that's the problem right now. Like
Well, hey,
Well, the problem is if you couldn't close it in the front, that would be the problem.
that's a whole different sort of problem, man.
breathing is a whole nother story too. So
You don't want an old-fashioned wardrobe malfunction on your hands.
Well, we're glad your health is progressing enough to where you're able to go back to the gym. That's exciting.
yes.
So good to hear. And with me also is my partner in crime, the one, the only, the bad boy of comics, Mr. Casey Walsh. Casey, how are you, sir? Oh, he's that good. Are you that good tonight, Casey? You're just not even talking to me? How dare you?
Oh, my internet. I think my kid's on the iPad in the other room, and she's sucking my internet from me. I'm going to go scream at her. She's 3, so I don't know how well that's gonna go over. Yeah,
I'm with
so
you.
if I don't respond quickly, that's probably why. I'm waiting for the internet to catch back up. So I apologize immediately.
That's okay,
That's so
buddy.
unprofessional on my part. But that's what happens
Yeah,
when
you
you
know.
have a small child. Yeah.
Hey,
little
you should be
succubuses, they
really
just-
sorry, man. Because
suck
there's
everything.
professional written all over our stuff. Professional
know.
this, professional that.
They just suck the life out of everything. It's terrible.
Cool, man. What else you been up to this week?
So yeah, everything's been going good.
Just good. We see you got your power back. You're back in the land of the living. That's good.
Yeah.
I have light today, so you can see my face. Actually, I turned my picture off because
We actually
that's
can't
how bad my
see.
internet is. So I was like, shit. It's either you either see my beautiful face or hear my beautiful voice. So I
Right.
figured it's more important than you could hear my voice. Although
We-
what comes out of it is not necessarily informative or worth hearing.
Should
Most of
we
the
should we take a tally now of how many people we're gonna offend tonight?
I have already offended plenty of people this week, apparently.
Awesome.
So I'm just gonna.
So-
Well, last week it was just Winnie the Pooh fans, as far
That's
as I
true.
know.
That's true.
Well,
We
Winnie
did
the
really
Pooh is
good.
awful.
We did really good.
We did excellent.
Winnie,
Well,
Winnie the Pooh is a terrible, terrible bane in all of our lives. Like seriously, you couldn't come up with a better name than Pooh. Like you knew the connotation. I don't know. That show is terrible.
Not only
So
that,
bad.
but it's for kids. So you know how kids use the word,
No.
like, love the word poo? They don't care how it's spelled. They're sitting there going, poo.
Who?
So dumb.
So, would somebody were they in the bathroom when they came up with the idea, the name of that
I
character?
don't know. It's British. Who knows?
And there it is.
Um,
There's number one.
Yeah. But that being said, the Disney Channel is kind of showing these really cool new Disney like Mickey Mouse shorts, and they're amazing.
Oh yeah, those new shorts look really cool, man.
Yeah. They're like Ren and Stimpy style, like Mickey Mouse. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So those are really fun though. I like those. I wish they'd show more of those and less Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
Get on it, Disney. You listen to this. Come on now.
More Mickey and Minnie shorts, all of them, and not the kind of where we're talking about the cartoons. But anyways, well, let's get to it. We are super excited tonight because we have our very first guest of 2015. He's here to talk about his awesome Kickstarter project, Comic in the Works. With, I mean, it sounds awesome just from the get-go in the name, Andrew Jackson in space. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Brian Visaggio. Brian, welcome to the show, man.
Hi. I'm great.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, man. We're excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Having a great day.
That's good. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of everything, how was your week? Did you do anything awesome and exciting this week?
Okay, so I don't know if the whole story. I'm in the middle of a job hunt.
Okay.
And I had an amazing interview yesterday, for kind of borderline dream gig kind of thing, and I killed it. And I was the first person they interviewed, and today they called me up, and they're like, hey, so you're perfect for the job, but we don't want to hire literally the first person we talk to without talking to other people, but can you temp for us for a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
So basically,
that's
you're
a win.
taking over for Scott Snyder on Batman.
I'm sorry?
You're taking over for Scott Snyder on Batman?
Oh, definitely.
Awesome.
2 weeks.
Scoop.
I'm going to get through a half of one issue.
Hey, it just has to be the best half ever, and you're good.
It's marketing writing.
Oh, okay.
With a cool little boutique agency located in New York State. So.
Oh, very cool, man. So awesome. Well, New York, is that where you're hailing from this evening?
Yeah, I live in Manhattan.
Oh,
the far northern reaches of Manhattan, where nobody knows it exists. It's great.
You're like in the land that time forgot, New York.
No, and it's wonderful. The rents are affordable. It's Manhattan.
Yeah.
2 blocks of the train. Everything's 20 minutes away.
Right.
It's a magical wonderland called Inwood that no one knows about because it's north of 59th Street.
Yes.
Well, they do now, Brian. I hate to tell you, but
You ruined it.
All 4 of our listeners know.
Being totally awesome. So I'm glad we're already here.
Yeah, awesome. well, sir, we're going to start with asking you a question we like to ask all our guests. Tell us about your geek origin story. You can go back as far as you want. Tell us kind of what kind of things inspired you when you first started in this whole exciting universe.
That's the thing, is when you go back too far and it's just things you liked as a kid, and who didn't like Transformers? And so if I want to get like the meaningful origins are when I was like 6, a friend of mine got me into Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I'm the most enormous. I'm a big Deep Space Nine fan. That's my thing. Okay. But I take Star Trek just way too seriously. I have an unhealthy emotional investment in Star Trek.
Oh, I just broke that like not too long ago, but for me it's straight Next Generation. Everything after that pissed me off, which is how I managed to break that.
Next Generation was like family time in our house.
It was the family show that we all sat and watched.
TNG is milk toast and kind of boring.
Uh-oh.
I like the show, but if you look at you can watch it in literally any order, and there's no character progression except for like Worf and Wesley Crusher. They're the only ones who grow. And I'm thinking back, and I'm watching. I just wrapped up.
Data, man.
I just wrapped up a run on Deep Space Nine, and I was thinking to myself, like just looking back on how far this one minor character had come, like his enormous like character arc over the show, and I was actively just moved thinking about it. Anyway, Star Trek.
Yes.
My dad got me my first comic when I was 8. It was some issue of Action Comics from like 91, 92. Superman has amnesia and he's stuck in the 40s.
Oh wow!
He did a job as a circus strongman.
That's cool.
I remember literally nothing else. I segued pretty quickly over to like X-Men, and read X-Men for 15 years and then stopped because I couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
X-Men got a little crazy.
Yeah, very cool. So tell us when did you start, tinkering with the idea of writing comics?
When I was 8.
When you were 8, awesome.
Yeah, I've never not been writing comics.
Yes. So tell us about your early stuff that you wrote.
My early stuff from when I'm 8 was the truly unique and exciting original idea of Spider-Boy, which featured this greatest line of dialogue I have ever set down on paper.
Uh-huh.
Boy, the crime rate around here sure has gone up lately.
Spider-Boy, so political.
And I did 2 Spider-Boy stories, but because it was the 90s, I did 2 #1s for 2 separate Spider-Boy books.
Okay.
So they had no continuity between them. I did The Amazing Spider-Boy and Web of Spider-Boy.
Ooh. I want to read this. I know Casey does too.
No.
We don't want to read. Okay.
Awesome.
Terribly
I stand by that character design though. It's pretty good.
Nice. Very cool, man. So, what kind of background do you like? Did you have any formal studying or training, and about writing and stuff?
I went to Comics University. I have my bachelor's in English.
Okay.
From Virginia Commonwealth University. That's mostly just lit analysis.
Right.
I just write a lot, so you get good by doing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I've done some creative nonfiction. I've done some magazine articles, but I mean, fiction is just something you get good at by reading a lot and having people you trust tell you where you suck. And then not getting offended or hurt by it. That's the most important thing, is people who hold on, my wife was okay.
Does your wife do a lot of that for you, telling you where you suck, kind of thing?
Yeah, that's her main job.
Okay.
But
what a coincidence! That's my wife's main job too.
Yeah, the most important thing is being able to take criticism and implement, honest improvements.
Right. Something
a lot of people just don't have the ability to do. I don't really know how else one gets good at writing. I know there's writing classes I've taken. I did some creative writing classes in college, and I don't know what I learned.
Right.
The people who couldn't write at the start of the class still couldn't write when they were done. And people who could write at the start of the class now had friends who could workshop with them, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Well, we all got out of 3 credits, so.
Nice. Excellent. So you don't need all that school and crap. You don't need that.
It helps if you can put a damn sentence together, but a lot of people can't even do that.
It's true.
And I guess there's things you can learn from study. You can get basic theory, learning act structure and yada yada. I'm not trying to shit on writing education. It and especially comics, because that's got its own tricks and its own quirks that you'll pick up over time. But if you have someone to hold your hand a little, that's really helpful.
Yeah. Excellent. So let's talk about your project, Andrew Jackson in Space. Tell us about where the idea for this came from.
I'm sorry?
You gotta say it right. Andrew Jackson in space!
Yes!
Yeah, that's not how I say it.
Sorry.
How do you say it, Brian?
I call it Andrew Jackson in Space frequently. I just call it Aegis.
Aegis?
A-J-I-S.
Nice. There's a cool acronym for it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cumbersome to type that whole thing out every time.
I bet.
Um,
That's like Geeks with Wives and Capes.
So well, the question was, where did I come up with it?
Yes, tell us how this originated. Tell us about the birth of this awesome idea.
Well, okay. Last summer, I was working on developing an anthology series, like the Twilight Zone, but with an American history theme, kind of thing. It'd be like weird fantasy and science fiction stuff. There'd be, you know, aliens trying to, I don't know. It didn't come together. Because the whole thing I wanted to do with it was I wanted to get like a group of people. I wanted like a group.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just me. I just couldn't pull together a team that was interested in it the way I was, and that's fine. It's a weird little idea. But I had written out a bunch of just random ass plot seeds, just little things like a rock band tries to stop the end of the world and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Right? And so I was trying to come up with a little 6-page short for that a friend of mine and I were going to do together. Artist James Kersey, very talented guy. He what?
Oh, sorry. I know the name.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy. You're just like, and I'm like,
Yeah, like, oh, I know
what
that
happened?
name.
he's a good guy, and we were very excited to work together. And so I'm trying to come up with something, and I'm like, oh, I have this list of plot seeds for this project that didn't come together.
Right.
And on the list was Andrew Jackson versus robots. And it's just kind of a throwaway kind of thing. I mean, there's only a couple of presidents you can really think of as having a shot in a fight against a group of robots, and America's fightingest president is like number one on that list.
Right.
And so I started. I'm like, okay, I can get 6 pages out of Andrew Jackson punching some robots.
Sure, why not?
And so I started toying with the idea that, well, why is he fighting robots? Why is that a thing that is even coming up? And I'm like, oh, well, he's lost in space. And so he's fighting robots who are stopping him from coming home or something.
Yeah.
And so the more I started toying around with the idea, the more I realized that this was like a really fun, zany concept that I could do a lot more with. And so I started doing some world building, just mostly so I could have some kind of idea as to what kind of stories I could tell with this. I'm like, I've only got 6 pages, but I'm like, maybe I can find something to grab hold of. And I started developing characters, and I started realizing, well, there was a lot of meat.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote out a 20-page script, just kind of on the bus home from a comic book convention.
Where the best stuff happens after comic conventions. You're all inspired and stuff.
Oh yeah.
James was originally slated to draw it. We were not able to make that work out, unfortunately, because he's a really busy guy and he just wasn't able to prioritize the book the way that I needed it to be prioritized.
Yeah.
And so he departed the project, and now I've got Jason Smith doing it, and he's. And if you guys have seen the art on the Kickstarter, he's knocking it out of the park.
Oh yeah, the art looks super great.
Yeah, I love that art style. It's so colorful and beautiful, and it so fits the space genre so well. That kind of look that you're going for, like the old school kind of Flash Gordon-y stuff.
The colors are by Harry Saxon, and he's giving it this kind of like bright, sort of neon, garish 80s thing. That's kind of art.
Yeah, it looks like it would look good under a black light.
Yeah. That's sort of our controlling interpretation is it's got the slick, dazzling veneer of the 1980s.
It takes me back to high school.
No,
I was not in high school in the 80s. So.
Oh, either was I. I'm just saying we had a lot of black light posters laying around.
Yeah.
I can't see. So.
those crappy posters with the mushrooms and things on them.
Oh yeah.
I didn't smoke nearly enough weed to have any of those.
Yeah, well, neither did I. I just thought all the cool kids had them.
The cool kids had them because they were high.
Yeah, exactly. See, I didn't figure that out till later on.
You did not have the privilege of growing up in a house full of potheads. So
no, yeah.
my mom offered to get me high when I was 16. My mom.
Wow.
Wow.
Mom ever.
Awesome,
I had a
Mom.
friend whose mom was like that, hanging out at their house. That was the cool house to hang out at. Like,
Your parents
Yeah, that was
and
our
everything, right?
My mom came up to me and she said, Brian, if you ever want to try marijuana, you just let me know and I'll take care of it.
You had the mom from Mean
Out of the
Girls.
blue. I didn't bring it up.
The mom from Mean Girls, Casey.
Yeah.
She's like, "Can I get you a sandwich, something to drink?"
Marijuana?
Yeah, marijuana. So give us a little for those of us that don't know why Andrew Jackson. For those of us that are not history buffs, you know.
Why Andrew Jackson is...
Yeah.
I mean, there's the long answer and the short answer, and the short answer is because I had a plot scene that said Andrew Jackson versus robots. The only reason it said that is because who else is going to fight him?
Yeah.
I mean, like I have a whole big long justification as to why this is something that works and something that I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had this note on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Why not Andrew Jackson is a question that has an answer too.
I don't know anything about Andrew Jackson, to be honest
no,
with you.
I like it. I
flat
liked
out.
it because Abe Lincoln was getting overused for
Exactly.
everything. He's a cool guy and all, but what about the other presidents? I mean,
I had some people being like, "Why don't you do Abraham Lincoln in space?" I'm like, "We have Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Why do we need
Exactly.
I had an idea for Grover Cleveland fights swamp monsters.
there you go.
So
Yes.
And Teddy Roosevelt gets
He
used
lose?
a lot too because
Yeah,
he
and
was
that's another thing.
badass.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't use Roosevelt because Roosevelt's, especially with this whole steampunk bullshit.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's got Wolverine levels of exposure.
Mhm.
You know,
Really?
and I don't give a shit about Teddy Roosevelt.
No, I like it. I like that you picked Andrew Jackson because it's still feasible given his physique and all that good stuff.
Did Andrew
It's a
Jackson
name-
like get in a lot of fights back in the day? when
No,
he was
it's a name, but it's a name that people are still gonna recognize
Yeah.
without being Abe Lincoln or Teddy. So
Let me tell you about America's fightingest president.
All right. See, this is what I wanted to know because I know
Yeah.
crap
Yeah.
about Andrew Jackson.
I'm getting
Give you
cozy.
I've done a lot of research to do this, but I can give you one amazing anecdote.
All right. Give us some cool stuff.
67 years old, and he's giving a speech
Okay.
in D.C., and this man walks up. He does not from the audience. He walks up onto the stage, pulls out a pistol, and tries to shoot him, and the pistol doesn't fire. So he's like, "Shit!" And he pulls out his spare pistol,
Yeah.
and it doesn't fire. And he's like, "Oh shit!" And then Andrew Jackson beats him nearly to death with a cane.
Awesome.
He did shit like this all the time. He got into duels left and right.
Right.
Just constantly just punching people.
back when politics was a lot more entertaining.
No, this wasn't normal. Nobody else did this. Every president up to this point had been like this Virginia aristocrat, very proper. You know? His immediate predecessor was John Quincy Adams, a man famous naked in the Potomac, but that's about it.
Right.
Brian, we need to get you on drunk history real quick before this Kickstarter ends.
I would love to do drunk history.
Drunkest with
Dude.
Brian.
That sounds like fun.
No, but Jackson is a difficult figure. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to joke about him. I don't know how much you guys. Okay, actually, I do. You guys, a lot of you don't seem to know a lot of anything about Jackson. That's
Nope.
No.
and that's also kind of a problem because in addition to him being a really important figure in American history, he's a really problematic guy. I have to bring this up as a matter of conscience.
Yeah.
He's the guy behind the Trail of Tears.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly why that name is always going to be stuck in my head.
Not a good guy.
No.
I've gotten some, and I think totally justifiable pushback from people who have been like, well, if you're making Andrew Jackson into a hero, and I'm like, you haven't read the book. This is not Andrew Jackson, totally awesome guy who's here to save the day and be nice and
No, it sounds like Andrew Jackson just likes beating the shit out of stuff.
It's not quite that. Like, I honestly, I don't. As much as I can claim to have a mission with this, a mission for a book called Andrew Jackson in Space is usually pretentious. But as much as I can say that I have one, is I want to see if he can grow. You know, everybody in 1801 was an inveterate racist. Everybody.
Yeah.
If I did a book about fucking Thomas Jefferson in space, nobody would be talking about his record of hideous racial statements.
Yeah, because they don't know him for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Thomas Jefferson said, yes, we should abolish slavery, but black people are just not as good as white people. That's why we should all send them all back to Africa, because they'll never be able to integrate, and they'll just be awful forever, and they'll end up killing everyone.
Get a refund on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody had a good racial record. Jackson was an awful guy. I'm not trying. It feels like it sounds like.
It's also a sign of it's the time. Everybody was that awful.
I feel like it sounds like I'm trying to relativize. Is that the right? Yeah. Trying to relativize him. And just say, oh, well, he's not that bad considering. No, because he's not a nice guy, and I'm not trying to defend his record or to say that things he did weren't awful or that he shouldn't be remembered as the bad guy he was.
Right.
But once I had this character in the situation, I realized, one, he'd been separated from his context. It's really hard to be a white supremacist when you're the only white guy on your side of the galaxy.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of strength in numbers in that scenario.
A racist of any sort when you're not in power.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's basically living on the dregs. He's got a piece of crap spaceship. He's not like on top. This is a guy who spent his whole life coming from the bottom, rising to the very, very top. And he's a very, very bitter, angry, cruel man who would just stomp on anyone beneath him while he was constantly trying to prove himself to those above him. Because he had this just serious chip on his shoulder, and I'm keeping that serious chip on his shoulder, and I'm trying to be true to the guy. So people who are going into this book thinking that I'm there to glorify him, no. Am I trying to humanize him? Yes. Do I want you to empathize with him? Yes. And why do I want these things? Because I'm a writer and he's my protagonist, but I don't want to defend him, and I'm not here to make you like him.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a lot of blowback from trying to make him, a protagonist in the story? That doesn't seem like that. I would feel like people would take offense to that, but it sounds like you have.
There are people who take offense. I had, this is the first time I'm publicly bringing this up, I had Kevin Wada at one point attached to do a variant cover for it, and he got some pushback from his fan base, and he sadly pulled out of the book. So, it has been something that's directly affected the project. That's just...
It sounds so insane to me.
I think I understand why people are upset. I do. And I'm not even trying to say that... I think this is a good conversation to have, because the larger conversation that I think we're not having is, can we engage with our own dark history in fiction in a way that isn't polemic? Obviously people can write a story about Andrew Jackson being a bad guy, but what's that accomplishing other than we all already know that?
Yeah.
And so
you're putting him in a different situation, but keeping his personality, I guess.
What he's known for. I'm trying to see what happens. And more to the point, I'm playing around in American history, which is something that American writers have been doing since the beginning. It's a fictional account of a real guy who had a very spot on history. Let me ask you guys, have you guys ever heard of a movie called Max? No. Anybody?
M-A-X-X?
I'm sorry?
Is it M-A-X-X?
Yeah, no, M-A-X. Not the Max.
No.
Not the MTV superhero with the middle fingers.
Nope.
Nope.
Mac.
Sorry.
It's a movie that came out in like 2002,
Uh-huh.
and it's about a young artist in Vienna named Adolf Hitler, and how he sort of gets sucked into radical politics, and how he's always got this sort of dark, violent streak in him, and he's not a nice guy, but he's also not like a mustache curling monster.
Yeah.
And his co-star is a Jewish art dealer who's a guy who's really encouraging him, and he's really trying to be like, your art, you keep going, you've got interesting stuff going on, and he just gets pulled deeper and deeper into the one area where he feels like he gets respect and recognition. It makes you feel bad for Hitler. It humanizes him because he was a human. It's something that drives me crazy. We always use the word monster when we talk about these people, but when we call someone a monster, we're removing them from the human family, which means that they're something different, something that we're not. Like that's not anything we could ever do or ever be.
But obviously, we're capable of it because somebody did it.
Exactly. And we do the same thing when we call someone a saint, or when we remove Mother Teresa, we remove Martin Luther King from the human family and make them these moral, like, super people that we can. Oh, I'm not Mother Teresa. I can't be that good. I'm not Martin Luther King. I can't yada yada.
Yeah, exactly. And yet they proved we were capable. And we kind of, like, in history, we kind of missed the point.
Yeah, these people sort of proved what man can be, both the good and the bad. The thing that I am increasingly really interested in doing with Andrew Jackson in space is seeing what he's capable of becoming. And so my book takes place about 27 years before he's president. It's 1801, 1802. He hasn't done those things. He still has that choice.
Right.
He still has the ability to make other choices and to become someone different. And I don't want people to think that I've created this guy who's set on a path. It's fiction. Don't assume that everything's going to turn out the way it did historically.
Yeah, it's in space, people. Get over it. Come on now.
Yeah. He's having different formative experiences that are going to affect him as a person.
Right.
Let's say it's an alternate timeline.
It's like Ultimate Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson.
So wait, are you saying he's going to be in Secret Wars now? Is that what's going on here?
I didn't want to reveal that officially yet.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
You like that segue, Casey? I knew. See, I knew it. I was tying it all in.
Oh my goodness.
So Brian, besides obviously the much debated Andrew Jackson, what other characters are we going to be seeing in this book of yours? Who's the gal on the cover with Andrew Jackson?
She may be my favorite character ever.
Okay.
I created her for a bit of dramatic irony. Her name is Elida, E-L-I-D-A. What?
I like
What's
that
funny?
name.
Oh, okay. I'm like, should I change it?
No, ignore me. I make random noises like all the time in reaction to stuff I like.
She is the deposed former queen of an interstellar monarchy.
Yeah.
Who is now she spent the last 15 years on the run from the revolutionary government that took her down. Mm-hmm. And at the very beginning of issue 1, they get her.
Mm.
Oh.
And so her and Jackson have some kind of history, which I go into I sort of hint at a bit. Right. Basically, all we know is he shot her and she stole his spaceship.
Oh. Very cool.
And now he's trying to bust her out of jail. And that's the story of the first issue.
Excellent. No.
You have to buy it and read it. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yes, I have to ask this because I know Casey's a big fan of villains and rogues galleries. What kind of villains can we expect to see in this?
I'm approaching
without giving too much away.
No. That's fine. At this point, I've only got the first 4 issues planned out, and it's a single arc.
Right.
And I feel like at this point, basically anything I say about the villains would spoil the entire plot.
Okay.
Like the entire plot.
Andrew Jackson's his own villain.
That's the thing, is Andrew Jackson is his own villain.
Yeah.
He absolutely is his own villain. And he shouldn't always have a villain in him. I feel like at some point he should fight, like some other another time-displaced version of himself. Oh, I do have a short that I'm gonna do in which he fights Time Roosevelt.
Wow.
Nice.
Time Roosevelt is not Teddy
Sounds
Roosevelt.
like so much fun.
Right.
Time Roosevelt is every Teddy Roosevelt from across the multiverse.
Nice.
Together in one amalgamated character.
And that's
And
Time
Roosevelt.
Is he
That's
like
a really good
stationed?
stick.
Is he like stationed from Bill and Ted too?
No, he's like the Roosevelt. He's like the platonic ideal of Teddy Roosevelt. He's also a cyborg.
Oh, sweet. Cyborgs are awesome.
I know.
Time Roosevelt cyborgs even better.
Yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen because I'm not budgeted for it yet.
Yeah. Well, speaking of budget, let's tell us about your Kickstarter campaign. What kind of awesome incentives can people get for backing the Kickstarter?
I mean, there's we have, I mean, obviously physical copies of the book. We've got digital copies. There's an all digital bundle that includes Andrew Jackson in Space, another 10-page short that I did with the same artist called The Sisters, which is a little horror comic set at the 1893 World's Fair, and the first 5 or 6 issues of my main project, Stronghold, which is Power Rangers for grown-ups.
Power Rangers for grown-ups, huh?
Yay! I thought Power Rangers were already Power Rangers for grown-ups.
Yeah, me too.
As much as I'm a big fan of Power Rangers, they are very much not.
Yeah, I know.
That's cool, man.
Stronghold is I'm not without just trying to plug my other book. Stronghold.
I was going to ask you about
Plug
that.
away,
Yeah, you
sir.
can
Plug
totally do that.
away.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug my own book. Everyone should go to Comixology, type in Stronghold, and then buy it. The original concept was Power Rangers meets Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
The same. We wanted to take the kind of armored space ninja thing and give it
You
seriousness.
just sold
and
half of our
gravitas.
writing staff. I know that for sure.
Yes.
Good. You
They're
get
like,
an entire series for $5.
Wow.
That's a steal.
The first 3 issues are in a collection, which we're selling for 99 cents because we want a low point of entry. Also, they're not as good. And issues 4 and 5 are $2.99 each. So $4 plus $1, $5.
Excellent.
And we're wrapping issue 6 like as we speak. We're doing edits on lettering on that right now.
Big man. I know. Everybody's gonna.
So that'll probably be on Comixology in like 10 years because they're glacial.
You should. Have you heard of Comic Fix?
Have I heard of what now?
Comic
Fix.
Fix?
Comics Fix.
It's like Netflix for comics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a subscription-based access to comics.
Like Fargo?
Like Netflix for comics.
So yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. But they have a lot of indie stuff on there. So.
Yeah, that's what I like. They're big with the indie. It makes
Yes.
it really easy to access a lot of indie stuff.
Good. I'll see about getting our work on there.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Good. So,
Definitely.
Brian, give us the address if our listeners want to go and check out the Kickstarter for Andrew Jackson in Space.
Well, it's lengthy and Kickstarter address. A lot of numbers in it. So I'm just going to say go to Kickstarter and look for Andrew Jackson in Space. Yeah. But if you really want the URL, I'm going to pull that up. And I'm going to read the whole thing right here.
Well, we can tweet it.
Hold on. I'm going to type it as you read it.
We'll also put it in the description of the podcast.
www./projects/127815356 /Andrew-Jackson-in-space.
Whoa.
Bam.
There you
There
go.
it is.
Yeah.
And
Somebody
remember,
just
you
did
used
it
to
so I could retweet it.
yahoo.com. Easier than
I'm
Google.
so lazy. Yeah.
Go to Kickstarter, type in Andrew Jackson in space. It's literally the only thing called that.
Yeah, it should pop up.
Yes. Yeah. Go to the
And then next
Kickstarter
week, look
search
for
feature.
Grover Cleveland versus the Swamp Monsters.
Yes. Bam. There it is. Well, Brian, that's super awesome. We are super pumped. We hope you make your Kickstarter goal because we want to see.
I should. I'm doing very well. We still have 2 weeks left, and I'm like 77%.
Yeah,
So.
and you got that cool seal that says a Kickstarter staff pick on it.
Yes.
Ooh.
I had to put that seal on there myself, but we are really a Kickstarter staff pick. I didn't make that up.
Awesome.
Although, who would know? I thought they would add it automatically. I was waiting for days.
Yeah, you're like, well, guess I got to put that on.
Oh, so you were asking about our Kickstarter rewards.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were selling off original art, like original art pages, the cover. These are inked pencils. This book is not done digitally.
Yeah.
So there's all stuff that actually exists. Commissions, sketches, a cameo.
Ooh,
Book. We've had one taker on that so far.
excellent.
So if you really, really want to see yourself get like punched by Andrew Jackson, I can arrange that.
Yes.
I'm not kidding. I could totally arrange that. Not hard. We've only got 4 pages of this book drawn. This is not something that we can't do.
Wait, can I appear as a Native American and punch him in the face or something?
That would require a script rewrite. So
Just make me a space Indian. My son wrote a book about space Indians.
that's
It was awesome.
and I want a copy of that book.
Oh yes, definitely. It was awesome.
Space Indians.
It was supposed to be a Thanksgiving book, and the only thing that had to do with Thanksgiving was all the turkeys got abducted, and space Indians fought the aliens, and then everybody had McDonald's. That was the.
How old is he?
He's 9.
He's my hero.
It is
Piper?
such an awesome book, dude. It's so funny.
Have you heard of Axe Cop? You should be writing this stuff down.
Read it.
Yes.
I'm not joking. Even a little
No,
teeny
his school actually published it in like this hardbound book with like his drawings and stuff. It's really cool.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. You just made my whole night.
Awesome.
Good job, Piper.
I need to see if I can cash in on his book here. Maybe
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go read the story of Axe Cop and
Look at Axe
how
Cop,
that guy,
Piper.
writes his like brother's 6-year stories, and he just like writes everything down and then draws it verbatim. You could totally do the same thing and be making like
Oh yeah.
Google bucks.
Oh,
I just redraw his stuff.
Yep,
the thing about Axe Cup is Axe Cup has a limited shelf life because that kid's not going to be 5 forever.
that's true.
He's already like 10 at this point.
Yeah. You got to cash in on that now, Piper.
Yeah. Oh,
on
dude,
it.
he could be making me some money.
Brian, awesome. And besides your Kickstarter, we'll make sure we tweet that somewhere. Where can fans and followers find you on the Twitters?
At Brian Visaggio, that's Visaggio.
Awesome,
Visaggio.
man. Super cool, man. Well, we're gonna talk. Would you like to talk some comics and what we did this week in our Week in Geek with us?
Sure, I didn't really do anything in comics this week because I'm super poor.
I feel you there.
That's okay.
I got my books last week, but I'm down to like $3.50 right now. So,
Okay.
and I mean $3 and
Yeah.
50. That's an actual figure. That's not a joke.
Okay, gotcha. It's okay, man. I'm there with you. Ding.
Yeah.
So with that, it's time for our Week in Geek. So let's take Mr. Walsh first this week. What's going on, Casey? Tell us about your Week in Geek. What do you got for us?
Mr. Walsh, that's my dad's name.
Yes.
What did I read this week? I'm gonna go really fast because my internet is not being cooperating, so I may be cutting it out here. I know, dude. I hate living out in the country. It sucks.
Sorry.
My internet doesn't work. Power never works. It's like
There's an
forage
out
for food.
country
You
in
could just
California.
Do you have
Oh,
hot
yeah.
running water, man?
Yeah.
Are you chained to a radiator?
I,
You could just move.
If If you hear banjo sounds in the background, you should
I'm
move.
blinking Morse code. Can you guys see it?
Yes. Send
No, because your internet connection. No.
Send help.
What did I read? Okay, so I read Galaxy Quest #1 this week. My
I
review
forgot that was
on
coming out.
Yeah.
geeksandwives.com. I really liked it personally. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was a great story start. It's a little slow, and you don't get as many character interactions as you want. You pretty much just get to hear from Brandon, who's Justin Long's character. He's like the nerdy geek kid that helps him out at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then you hear from oh my God, Captain Taggart, and he is Tim Allen's or Commander Taggart, and he's Tim Allen's character.
Taggart, or is it the actor?
Huh?
Is it Taggart or the actor? What's true, the movie or the show in the movie?
I don't know at this point.
I really wanted to be the show. I want it to be the stupid show.
Yes.
I want Rock Ingersoll. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I really liked the book, but a lot of people really didn't like the book. Now maybe I mean I know after you kind of read a bunch of other people's reviews, you're kind of like second guessing yourself at some point. But I guess I shouldn't.
No, you see, you're sitting there going, "Wait, do I have shitty taste?" Or...
Yeah, right. I'm like, really? Like, I didn't think it was that bad, and I thought they tied this like what? Okay, so if you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, shame on you. I don't know why you're even listening.
Yeah,
to this podcast.
seriously.
But basically, what happens at the end of the book, I think they tie it in, or what happens at the end of the movie, they tie it into the continuing story in this book really well, like almost perfectly, and it's a really cool thing, and that has infinite consequences basically, and if you think, I don't want to give it away because I think it's a really awesome kind of revelation in the book, and it's really the book's selling point, so I wouldn't want to spoil it on the podcast. But if you know at all how the Omega-13 works in the movie, then you can kind of have an idea of where they could take that idea and expand on it. So it's a really cool idea. Like I said, we didn't get as many character interactions from people we want to hear from probably, like Guy Freeman and stuff, who's my favorite character.
I really just want to find out why the Omega-13 is even on the spaceship.
Why what? Sorry.
I just want to know why they would deploy the Omega-13 on that spaceship, because it reset the entire universe. So that seems like something you wouldn't want flying around space.
Yeah, it's not a perfect movie at all.
It's not.
That's the idea of the comic book. So yeah, you nailed it on the head, Brian. That's the idea of the comic book, is when they set that off, it set the entire universe back, 15 seconds or whatever. So now they have to kind of deal with that and the ramifications of
Glad there are
their
consequences.
universe.
Well, do they explain how 6 dudes are supposed to repopulate that one alien species?
Yeah, they're fucked.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
there was one chick, and she went to Earth because she fell in love with a different guy. So
Yeah,
how are they supposed to repopulate their species?
Maybe. Oh, I'm gonna assume they're actually asexual.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
Or something.
I
Yeah,
would
there
hope
has
so,
to
'cause
be.
I don't think I want to see two of them together in one harmonious.
By asexual,
Sexual act.
I mean, perhaps they're just genderless, but I mean,
Right.
that's a population bottleneck that's going to be really hard to overcome.
Well, the problem
Especially
is,
if
though, that
anything happens to that ship.
the female-y one fell in love with a dude, so that would imply that they're not. So that species is going extinct. Or that race. That race, those aliens are extinct. They're done.
So we're
Well, I'm gonna try to get the writer on the podcast. You can ask him that in person. 'Cause that's a really good question.
Eric Brenham?
Yeah, Eric Burnham. Yeah.
You guys
So yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool little I just love that movie so much, and it's on Netflix.
I love
think
it.
still.
It's so cute and campy, and
Right.
yeah.
It's really a perfect movie in my opinion, which is
Yeah.
not saying much for my taste or.
Especially since Tim Allen's in it, but
Yeah, right. Well, that's another thing too. Once again, I grew up in not Midwestern, but Middle America, average family. So Tim Allen was in our house every single night for my entire childhood. So like out of that movie comes with like a little bit of comfort. And Sigourney Weaver's there, who was also around like my entire childhood because you know.
Sigourney Weaver was in your household a lot as a kid.
Yeah, my dad was a really nerdy guy, so like Aliens was always on the TV
Like she wasn't
television
like
set.
coming by and like bringing like muffins.
You know, I just always imagine that that's how life in California is.
What, people bring you muffins all the time?
No, just you have like famous actor next door neighbors and stuff. That's like my view of California is everybody knows everybody and
No, we did live down the street from Dean Cain's parents for a while, but
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, but that's so sad. It wasn't even Dean Cain.
Hey, it was his parents. He could have been over on the weekend.
he was around on the holidays.
Yeah.
Peterson Lifetime movie.
Yeah. Hey, he was Superman. Gosh darn it.
He was
Lifetime
not
movies.
Superman.
Lifetime movies occupy most of my free time nowadays, so
You
me
poor
and Dean Cain are
thing.
very well
I
acquainted.
can't handle that channel at all.
Lifetime movies. My wife watches a shitload of opera and things set in 19th century Britain.
Oh, fun.
I have guy friends that love soap operas, and I don't understand it at
I
all.
like Downton Abbey. I can get that.
I was gonna say we watched a lot of Downton Abbey. Is that what's going on?
A friend of mine was asking me about it once, and I was like, he's like, it just looks like it's a soap opera. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's a really good show, but it's definitely a show that's a whole lot of people making this face.
Isn't that every British freaking show that?
No, and my wife watches nothing but British shows, so I would know.
See, I almost watch nothing but British shows, and that's what it feels like to me.
Like, I mean, did you watch like season 2 of Downton Abbey? Like, anytime anything went happy for Bates, it was just like, we're gonna get through it. I mean, anything went bad. Every time anything good would happen to him, it would then immediately collapse on itself into something worse.
That's my life.
The whole
Though.
season, kept on being like, Anna, we're going to get through it this time. The whole fucking season.
It sounds like an awesome show.
boring.
This is why I love it.
So, I also read Justice League and Spider-Man and Powers and Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, who's next?
Come on, dude. Don't do me like that. Really, buddy. What else?
No, so Justice League has been really good. They're doing this like a meso-virus thing where basically these people, like there's a virus where if you get infected, you get superpowers and then you die.
Mm-hmm.
Batman just got infected, so it's a really cool kind of twist with that. It's a lot of fun. I think Jeff Johns like knows DC Universe and the Justice League so well that I mean he can write circles around that shit. So it's always going to be good. My daughter, of course, would come attack me right now. So I also read Spider-Verse. Hold on one.
He's gone.
Okay, so I also read Spider-Verse number 5, part 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is really heating up. There's a lot of Spider-Man. I don't know. I don't want to like spoil too much of it because it's so good. And
it's heating up, and there's a lot of Spider-Man.
A lot of buzzwords.
Are these spidered men?
Yeah. So basically, what's happened is they've kind of like figured out how to kill the inheritors, who are like these guys that are like. Can you guys hear my daughter singing in the background? Oh, how embarrassing!
A little bit.
Yeah.
So they finally figured out how to kill the inheritors, but the inheritors have like all the prophecy children. She's coughing exactly what I'm saying. So it's a lot of fun. Dan Slott is just amazing on Amazing Spider-Man and always has been. And if you're not reading Spider-Verse, well, I mean,
you
come
said
on.
Dan Slott. I heard dance a lot.
No,
yeah,
dance a lot.
I heard he's a boogie guy.
Dan
He likes to
Slott?
get
Oh,
down.
Dan Slott.
I also read the new reboot of Powers. I guess it's not a reboot, but a continuation. Oh my God! She almost just closed the computer. And that was really good as well. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry, I got real quiet. That was also really good. I love the art style because it's like Batman the animated series, but there's boobies in it. So that was a lot of fun to see. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So it's like
I can't. That's almost insulting.
I know it's bad. I'm not a very good
It means
person.
a lot to me. And you just said Batman the animated series with boobs, which Greg.
No, not boobs,
Bad thing.
boobies. That's
Well,
what kills me.
Believe me, it was kind of a shock to me too because it's the very last page and it's like in a strip club and then you're just like hit like all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, this the whole time I've been thinking like Batman the animated series and all of a sudden there's naked people in it. All right, well
I don't know which Batman you saw.
no, I mean the art style, like it looks like it's
No,
very
I'm-
like Bruce Timm looking. You know what you've seen Powers before. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Bruce Timm does a lot of erotic art. So I've seen my fair share of style movies.
For those of you who can't see
I
Brian's
know,
face
Brian.
right
You don't think very highly after this podcast. It's okay. I'm used to it by now. So I also read Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sorry, I'm still stuck on the word booby. An adult saying boobies? Not
Sorry.
boobs or
Kitty
tits,
said breasts.
boobies. Not breasts,
I said
boobies.
breasts.
Oh my God, you guys are making me sound like a terrible person.
No,
Think
Guardians
about
of the Galaxy was good. They went to the planet symbiotes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm breathing. I'll be good.
Are we ready? I'm almost done. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy was okay. It was good. I mean, it's been better than usual. They went to the planet, like symbiote planet, finally. So we kind of got an origin story for like the symbiotes, and they have like a name. They're called like the Kintar, Kyntar. I know it's kind of weird. I don't know why we needed an origin story for the symbiotes.
It sounds like
but-
a cartoon.
Yeah, it is a little strange, and like they had to make them like good guys. So like they're this like omnipotent like race of like symbiotes
Goo?
that like
Mhm.
try to.
Goo.
Yeah,
yeah,
There is
exactly.
a race of goo. Yes.
They're the
Yeah.
founders of Deep Space Nine. It always comes back to Deep Space Nine.
No.
I haven't done one podcast where I haven't talked about it yet.
I was a little shocked that you said your favorite was Deep Space Nine. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that.
That's because you're talking
Neither
to the
have
wrong
I.
people.
I've
The
heard
wrong-
Voyager a couple of times, but I
That's
will always
insane,
be
'cause
next
Voyager's
generation.
the most
Deep
aggressive-
Space Nine, they don't even like they're not trekking anywhere. They're just
Yeah, I
sitting
know, they
in one
don't go
spot.
anywhere.
No fucking
That one-
way. It's a masterpiece.
No. That is a soap opera in space.
They're all soap operas. Okay.
No, the other ones
Yeah,
are.
they're all
Vince
soap operas in
Vaughn.
space.
No.
It's a soap
I've got to say this. Deep Space Nine was created by a bunch of pissed off TNG writers who got really sick of Gene Roddenberry's bullshit. I'm not even kidding. This is literally what happened. They were developing the new show, and they're like, okay, all those stupid-ass motherfucking rules Gene Roddenberry imposed on us, how the characters can't grow, change, or fight, gone. We're going to do a show in which the characters grow, change, and fight.
Dude,
That's the
the
whole game of
characters
point.
did
Except
all
for them
sorts
going
of that in the next generation. I know,
Except for
because
them
I've
going
watched
anywhere.
the entire series like 80 times.
Yeah. They didn't. The only time they ever fought was when one of them had a principled stance or was controlled by an alien. No one was ever wrong. People were frequently.
You know what Deep Space Nine doesn't have, which means it'll never be as good? Doesn't have Q.
It does actually, and
Does it?
Cisco slaps him in his damn face and never comes back.
We'll see.
Alright,
That's
well,
no
pretty
fun.
bad.
That's no
It's
fun
the
at
thing that's ever
all.
happened on screen.
That takes some
I
major
just-
cojones.
I couldn't stick with Deep Space
true.
Nine long enough to even see that Q was in there.
The first season is boring as shit. Start in season 3, and you'll find.
Just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. See, Piper, it all comes
Season
back.
3? It's like you watched the first season of TNG. The first season of TNG is garbage.
No, it was still awesome because Data was still
They
there.
had that really racist episode, and it's like the third one. There was that clip show at the end of season 2. A clip show.
Clip show.
That
I
was
remember
the
clip
thing during
show.
that time, though. Everything
No,
had
they
a
went
clip
on the
show.
money.
Oh,
They
number
still had
one.
Yeah.
Remember when?
I promise you, everything had a clip show.
Number one. You remember that time?
Deep Space Nine didn't.
But see, if Deep Space Nine took till season 3, I barely stuck with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because of season 1. So,
Hey, Casey, I wouldn't feel bad about your boob comment. They're talking about Deep Space Nine.
right? No, the next generation, man, that's what childhoods are made
until
of.
season 3. You can skip the first 2 years except for a couple episodes, and you're fine. Really, all you need to get out of TNG is Measure of a Man, where no one has gone before the first 2 seasons, where no one has gone before, and the cute
You,
episode.
the Borg, and Data, man. Yeah,
Drop the
Data.
mic.
No, Data. That's
Drop
no,
the mic.
right? No, that's
All
me
right.
dropping the mic. Data.
Yeah, and I included the most important Data episode. There's only one important Data episode.
They're all important. Data's in it, man.
I love Data, don't get me wrong, but...
See, I'm a girl. I had the hugest crush on Data, which
Then
says something
replace
about my
that
taste
crush.
in guys,
Yeah,
apparently.
the only guy you couldn't have sex with.
Crush on Captain Sisko like he
You
deserved.
could have. Data was fully functional, man. He was the perfect. He would be the perfect
I can't
boyfriend.
believe we're talking about this right now. The perfect boyfriend.
Perfect husband.
Yeah,
would have been.
He had major daddy issues.
But
I don't know
but
what's going on.
he was still fully functional and cute.
Stop
And
saying fully functional.
I'm sorry, I love that episode where he's like, "Well, yeah, I'm fully functional." Well, hey, baby.
That was first contact. You don't even know TNG.
What do you mean I don't know TNG?
Fully functional is fucking first contact.
All I know is he said it on that episode where everybody was banging everybody.
Okay, it's been a while since I've seen the shitty half-assed rehashing of a classic TOS episode.
So.
Huh.
Oh, man,
We
that
were
was fun.
saying-
That was an episode I remembered from my childhood too, which is kind of creepy.
That's bad.
And now we're out of time. So
Yes.
that was our show.
Yeah.
I'm
no,
done,
I
by
got
the way.
people on Twitter agreeing with me. Deep Space Nine was boring as hell.
All
That
right.
is flatly incorrect.
We need a whole other podcast just for this fight.
Piper,
This
did
will
you?
never be over. You just have to at some point accept that I'm right.
Piper, besides watch lots of Next Generation episodes, what was your Week in Geek about this week?
Well, I accidentally missed Agent Carter, and I really don't care. That's how I feel about it. I did catch Supernatural coming back, and that I did care, but that's not comic books. What I do, I wanted to use my Week in Geek time actually to finally tell everybody what Outside the Box is, because we've been keeping it a secret until some legal stuff was done and this and that, so that Outside the Box was definitely ours.
Yeah.
But so now I'm going to promote something, but only briefly, sort of.
Okay.
So Outside the Box is going to be the ultimate unboxing podcast. And basically, the reason why is because through research, there are like a gazillion mystery box program things. Some are subscription based, some are buy them one at a time. So,
Right.
but most of the time they're mystery boxes. You only have a little bit of control maybe over what's inside if you're lucky.
Yeah.
We thought would be a really good service for people who are debating on whether or not to actually invest money in these boxes is to get as many subscriptions as we can in a million different kinds of boxes each, and then have a podcast where we're unboxing them reviewing them, rating them, and comparing price, what the price. I drank too much wine. I'm still on data right now. Sorry. What the worth is of the items inside versus the price that you're paying.
Right.
All sorts of stuff, but it comes down to the ultimate unboxing. We're unboxing all these mystery crates, and we want to make it a weekly podcast. If we can get the crates timed right, and if not, we'll figure something out, or we'll hold on to crates and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to start an Indiegogo soon. We're still working on it, but it was suggested to us that we start promoting now. So I'm promoting briefly, but there's nowhere to go but there's a WordPress. Everything is Outside The Box Cast. So Twitter is outside. It's either Twitter is Outside Box Cast, and from there you can get to the other stuff. I suggest you follow. They look really plain right now, but that's because we're still working on it, and trying to think of any other information I was supposed to give. We are just I guess ahead of time. It looks like the Indiegogo is going to be somewhere from 40,000 to 45,000, which sounds really steep, but I am doing a cute little infographic to break down exactly where everything goes. A lot of it goes to subscriptions. A lot of other stuff goes to, I am doing all of the design work, and I need to be able to do that. We also need to be able to have equipment for a good podcast, hosting, all sorts of good stuff. However, Geeks with Wives has offered to host, I believe. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't be a Geeks with Wives exclusive, but you'll pretty much need to go to Geeks with Wives
to check it out.
to check it out. So, but for now, to keep tabs on what's going on and when the Indiegogo launches and all that good stuff, follow Outside Boxcast on Twitter. And like I said, from there you should be able to get to the WordPress and the other stuff. There's a Facebook page that I'm really mean and I don't help with. But I help with the Twitter one and I help with the WordPress, the blog. So follow those to keep up with it. And so there. Now everybody knows what Outside the Box is that we were keeping secret. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. Yeah.
Mystery box shirt.
Yeah, the mystery box shirt.
Excellent.
And but outside of that, I mean, this podcast, you need to be going to this dude's Kickstarter because it's already going. So.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we'll look forward to hearing about your
Are you vaping?
Yes, I am.
How is that? Pleasant?
It is very pleasant. I was a hardcore smoker, and I haven't smoked for 6 months after I bought my first vape thing, and I just quit like that. After trying patches and Chantix and all sorts of other crap, I switched.
Chantix.
Chantix. Oh yeah, that medicine that makes people kill people and stuff. Yeah. I'm probably really lucky on that one.
We're running out of time, so I'm going to go real quick, just what I read, just to kind of briefly brush.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Loki, Agents of Asgard, number 10. Casey, you're going to have to help me with this because my comic knowledge is not as good as yours. This issue got really confusing for me because they revealed that this Loki that we're seeing in this one is kind of like a third Loki, I guess.
Huh.
There was the original Loki, then he was reborn as Kid Loki. But when he was Kid Loki, there was still, like, I guess an echo of the old evil one that was kind of like trying to tell the kid one what to do. And I guess at some point he took over Kid Loki's body. And so really all this time the Loki that's been doing all this like supposed good stuff is actually like the third bad Loki called Eichel. Does any of this sound familiar to you?
Nope.
Casey? No.
I mean, I know that like Loki, like the old Loki was like trapped like in prison and like he's been kind of pulling the strings from there. Yeah. But yeah, I never understood like how the two existed separately because there was also a lady Loki
Yeah.
where he was
Yeah.
a girl.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Wait,
like,
they're all
I don't know,
separate?
that shit.
I guess they're kind
No,
of
I thought they're all the same person. Like Lady Loki and the old man Loki now are, I think, are the same person.
yeah.
I-
So
what happens is,
Marvel, get your shit together. DC, you too.
oh yeah,
Marvel, get your shit together.
I'm sure that this is what the Secret Wars thing is all going to try to kind of fix and like make it so that we don't have all these different
right.
like versions of different things.
Yeah, but
which is,
how many times have both of these companies fixed it and then immediately
Marvel,
broke
that's
it?
the thing. Marvel's never done. Yeah, they've never done a reboot before. Never, ever, ever.
Well,
that's
not
why,
really
that's
a
why I don't
reboot,
think,
but they have attempted though to fix it.
DC only ever done 2 hard reboots, and one of them went pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
This
anyways,
New 52 is crap though.
yeah.
Just saying.
So this got a little confusing for me, but
Controversial opinions.
this got a little confusing for me. So, anyways, they're obviously completely broken of the whole inversion spell from Axis, and Thor was actually coming to apologize for almost killing Loki, and then Loki kind of revealed all this stuff to him that like I'm actually not the Loki you grew up with, blah blah. And so of course Thor lost it and like beat the crap out of him again and took him back to Asgard to be imprisoned. So that's kind of where we left off. So yeah, interesting stuff. I need to do a little digging to understand it more. Other than that, the only other thing I read was Black Widow number 14, which is like one of my favorite books from Marvel.
Ooh.
Black Widow is hot on the trail of trying to discover who the heads of the evil terrorist organization Chaos are. So she's following the trail of people who like work for them. And so this issue is just a whole bunch of her, getting other names. Who do you work for and who do you work for? So a lot of people getting tortured and caught and tied up and whatnot, and
I feel like that can't be a lot to sustain an issue.
What's that?
I feel like that's not going to sustain an issue. Just who do you work for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you work for?
24
Well, all these people are all over the globe, so it takes a while to get to them.
I think they should always be in one room.
Yeah. Well, she gets them into one room, so.
it's just that same scene from the Avengers over and over again, like 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, that was it. Nothing too crazy happened in this issue, so that was it. But that's all I read. Casey, anything? Did you want to like talk any more about the big Secret War stuff?
I mean, we're really low on time. I just think what I think about the whole Secret Wars thing is, number one, I trust in Marvel, and I think they know that the one thing that they have over DC is their continuity, and that's remained throughout all these years. And I don't think they're just going to scrap all that and start anew.
Right.
I hope not. And I think people that are worried about like their favorite books like Miss Marvel and those new things that are around, I think DC knows that those books are popular and that people want them around and fans want them around, and they're not going to scrap them when the reboot happens or whatever they're calling this, convergence happens.
The thing that I find the most mystifying about this whole thing, if it does turn out to be a proper reboot, is that I've been saying ever since they started it, is that Marvel now has just been like the perfect way to manage a company like this. A new jumping on point. Like, I know a lot of people who get upset because they are constantly relaunching the books, but that means there's always a new creative team, always a new direction, always a new voice that might be something that resonates with you. And to me, that's led me to spend more time following creative teams and less time following characters. But I'm also a happier comic reader than I was when I was just suffering through whatever shit the X-Men were doing these days.
Right.
And I don't mean it to be derogatory, but I mean if there was a creative direction that I wasn't happy with, I didn't feel for the longest time like I could get into Avengers because I hadn't been reading Avengers for 15 years, and I'm like I'm gonna have to figure who the fuck these people are and what's happening, and I still kind of feel like that a little bit because I don't have like any familiarity with it. That's not my title, but these little like 15-issue series that then end and then relaunch with a new team. I think I've been saying this is perfect. This is such a unique way to always make sure that there's always a way to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Warren Ellis's Moon Knight was
read. I mean, I never would have read Silver Surfer. I never give a crap about Silver Surfer, and
I don't.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I was gonna say Warren Ellis's Moon Knight is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like 6 issues.
Moon Knight has always been awesome.
Right, in and out, and then it came back and it was still good. So yeah, I agree. I think people, when they make these giant, like, Marvel has said that an event will change the Marvel universe every time they have an event. So like that statement doesn't mean very much because I feel like they say that every time they have an event. So
They should
like,
stop having events.
yeah, I agree. I think their past 9 whatever events they've had. I mean, for the past, I want to say 5 or 6 years, have not been very good. Like, I mean, arguably the last good one was Civil War. To be perfectly honest,
I've been upset. I've been frustrated with this whole thing ever since it started with Disassembled. It's just been an ongoing series of crises upon crises upon crises. Last 12 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean,
I really think I stopped reading Marvel for like 3 years because I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, and it hasn't gotten better. Like, I mean, Age of Ultron was one of the worst comics I've ever read in my entire life. Like, it was just terrible. And so I mean, I think this is really them just kind of getting rid of the Ultimate Universe, and we all just kind of just need to relax and just let it happen and see how it plays out, and not just freak out immediately.
That's what I keep telling people.
Yeah.
I've had it with what I call preemptive fan bitching. Wait until you see what it is before you get upset about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm even going to wait and see about the stupid Fantastic Four movie. It doesn't sound good, but hey, you never know.
yeah, right. Well, that's what we say about Quicksilver and Days of Future Past, and look how that
true.
Out, so.
Yeah.
Costume looking an idiot, but that scene was phenomenal.
Yeah.
With cost of movie tickets now, if it comes to movie stuff, if they're saying what they're doing is going to sound like it sounds like complete crap, I don't want to pay $20 to see it.
Yeah, then wait until after it comes out and see what people are actually saying.
Yeah. I always, like, even the crappiest, if it's comic book related, I still end up seeing it one way or another. I won't pay $20 if it sounds like absolute garbage.
I still managed to completely miss Iron Man 3, so.
Oh, that movie's fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was gonna say you're lucky there because I paid the gazillion dollars to go see that, and I left so angry.
Like 2 is much worse.
After Darkness.
All right, kids. Well, we're out of time. We shall wait and see what happens with the whole Secret War thing. But anyways, Brian, thank you for joining us tonight. It was awesome to have you. Please, everyone, go check out Brian's Kickstarter, Andrew Jackson in Space.
You have to say it correctly, as we've already decided.
Andrew Jackson in Space!
Yay!
You can find him on Twitter at Brian Visaggio. Piper, where can we find you with your confusing ass Twitter handle?
Right? And Fizz Giggity, spelled with a Y, a couple of Z's. There's a shit ton of G's up in there.
All of the above.
Right?
Casey, tell them where we can find tell them where we can find you and what site they should be checking out.
You should be checking out geekswithwives.com and our family of podcasts. The Geeks with Wives, or not the Geeks with Wives, Geeks on Screen, our entertainment movie podcast, and the Geeks with Wives original video game podcast. They come out once a week as well, so we have 3 shows a week now, so you guys should be checking all those out. You should be checking out the site every day because something new is going up, whether it's one of our opinionated pieces or a review of a comic book or a movie or whatnot. There's always something new going on. You can find me at Bad Boy of Comics. And make sure you're following us on GWW Capes Crew.
Awesome.
Oh, and don't forget Twitch.
And I want to do a plug real quick.
Yeah, Brian, go first.
And just be sure to check out Stronghold number 1 through 5 on Comixology. It's $5 for total for all 5 issues, and issue 6 is coming out soon. So
excellent.
I'm still rocking it.
Very cool. Awesome.
And as Piper said, make sure you guys are checking out our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/geekswithwives, because we're doing like the whole live streaming thing now, and it's somewhat entertaining most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I was just given another Just Dance game, so it's going to get way more entertaining.
So watch Piper dance around her
I
underwear.
want to play Titanfall and Destiny and Halo, but no, everybody wants me to dance.
I can't say I blame, but whatever.
Thank you, Brian, for so much.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Darth Sparrow. Thank you for joining us once again as we talked about boobs and lots of Star Trek. And we'll hope you join us again next week. And
we also talked
as
like
always,
world history and like intellectual stuff too, not just boobs and Star Trek.
None of that mattered.
I was going to say, that's
None of
the
that
stuff
mattered.
that's going to get
For
remembered.
my next appearance, I'll just talk about Søren Kierkegaard for 25 minutes.
Don't forget to follow Outside the Box or my partner, the person that's also doing it with me, which is the Leaky Mind. See, that's easy to spell. On Twitter.
Yes.
So there's that too.
Awesome. And for the entire crew, we hope you have a good night. Keep an eye out for Grover Cleveland versus the Swamp Monsters. And as always, I will catch you on the Geek side.